Welcome to the Fractured Families podcast. I'm Charity, your dedicated parental alienation coach, here to guide and support families as they navigate the challenges of high conflict divorces and custody battles. On this podcast, we'll share insights, practical strategies, and hope for those on the journey toward healing and justice. Whether you're personally experiencing these challenges or just want to learn more about the complexities of parental alienation and custody disputes, you're in the right place. You are not alone. This is the Fractured Families podcast, where every voice matters and every story is heard. And if you find my conversation helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us reach more families who need it. Hey, thanks for joining the Fractured Families podcast. This is Charity, your host. I have with me today Andrea Hensley, who is going to share her story about being alienated from her two boys. Andrea has been fighting for years and recently had a court visit. So she's going to give us an update on how that went and a little bit about her story and the struggle she's had with parental alienation. So Andrea, thanks for joining. Go ahead and get us started.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thanks. My boys are twins. They're 17 today. It's their birthday. I chose today's date because it's their birthday. So happy birthday, boys. I love you, and I always will. So they are 17. When they were about 2, I ended up in trouble with the law, and I got put in jail, and I got out, and I did treatment, and I had visitation, and I ended up getting into a domestic violent relationship. And he was abusing me in front of them. And so I felt to keep them safe, I would need to get them away from me so I could get away from him. And so I wrote Dad a letter, which during the court proceedings, I got a copy of, because I didn't keep a copy for myself. So I got a copy of that, it was kind of heart-wrenching to read, but I wrote a letter to Dad and said that I needed to get my life in order to make them, make their visits safe and healthy, and so that we were all happy. And so it took about 1.5 years to do that, because at the time I was in a homeless shelter, a women's homeless shelter, and I was having my visits there at the shelter. It was for women and children. So, but it still just wasn't the right atmosphere I wanted my sons to be in. So I decided that I would write him. And then I stopped my visits so that I could establish housing and get away from my abuser. And it took about 1.5 years to get all of that accomplished. And I started calling Dad, and I never got an answer. And so I texted him numerous times, never got any answers. So I decided that I would just give them some time, and I would just continue my life and try to continue to be a better person for when I do have them back, or at least visits with them, because at that point Dad had sole physical and legal custody of them because I had lost them. I never received any reply from anybody. I tried family members. Then last year, or 2 years ago, excuse me, on their birthday, I was on the internet, and every year I post on their birthday because I want them to know that I think about them every year. And I will continue to do that. I did it this morning already. I baked them a cake, and I celebrate their birthday just like they were here. So there was no answer. So I just let it go, and I continued to get my life better. I met the current man that I'm with, and I've been with him for 11 years. He encouraged me a couple years back to look for them. And so I did. And I found them, and they were 15 at the time. And so I had texted Dad, I said, I'm really happy that you got married and that you're doing well, and I'm doing well as well. Can we please maybe schedule a visit, because I would really like to see my sons again. I have 5 children altogether, but 3 of my 3 older ones are adults. So these are the only ones that I have been alienated from. And I've never got a reply from him then. And I texted his wife, I texted more family members, and nothing. So I decided to look for him directly, one of my sons directly, on social media, and I found him. And so I sent him a message and told him that I was his biological mother, and I left my phone number. And if you ever want to call me, feel free, I'm here. And I was blocked. I got blocked immediately from every social media. So I decided that it was off to the courts I went. And so I started off with a contempt, but that got denied. So I decided that's what I was told that I should do by SHARP, which is, self-help referral program. And that was the wrong petition. So I got the right petition, um, and I refiled, and I got a court date. And we went to the court date and was assigned to mediation. And as I exited the courtroom, I was served with my paper or the petition to end my parental rights. It said this 13 years has gone by and I have not seen my sons. 13 years. Well, so I showed up for my court case. It was in another complete county. It's 2 hours away from me
Okay.
because that's where they live. So I went to that court date, and um, actually, let me back up. Before I went to that court date, we had mediation, and during mediation is when I found out that they did not know that I existed.
Hmm.
They did not know about me. They thought that their stepmom was their biological mom, and nobody let anybody believe any different. So I am. That just fueled my fire.
Yeah.
That just fueled my fire. I learned everything I could about parental alienation at that point.
Okay.
I watched videos, I watched YouTube, podcasts and TED Talks, and I read scientific papers from psychologists, and I got my education on it.
So you learned that they didn't know you existed. How did you realize it was parental alienation? What was indicated to make you think, oh, this is parental alienation?
So I share my story with a lot of people.
Okay.
And I have a friend, and she mentioned the fact that that sounds like parental alienation. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I'm going to go look that up, and I'm going to start looking into it and see if that's maybe what I have. And sure enough, that's what it was. It wasn't. I was erased. I wasn't alienated. I was completely erased from their lives. Um, they During mediation, their dad said that they remember me at the park. They thought I was a babysitter, but they never corrected that. They never let them believe anything different. I mean, when school comes along and you've got to see your birth certificate and they see a different name on there other than their stepmother, I mean, how are they gonna explain that? I just don't understand why erase me.
Yeah.
I
So
carried them.
so when the boys were two, you reached out to the father, and what was the relationship like with you and him at that point?
I thought it was fine.
Did he have parenting time with them up until that they were 2 years old?
I had them alone for the first 6 months.
Okay.
And then he finally did a paternity test to prove that he was the father.
Okay.
And then it took a few months after that for him to start getting visitation. So actually, he had visitation before me, through the courts.
He had a role in their life when you wrote him and said, I need to heal. And he had a positive role, I imagine, since you trusted him to take the boys.
No, the boys were taken from me by the police, and
Okay.
they were given to him because I lost my custody of them because I made some really poor choices in my past and had to pay that price.
Okay.
So I had to serve my consequences. So
Okay.
I had already lost them, but before that, he had visitation. He went to the courts to get visitation for them.
Okay.
So
So when he took the boys after you went into the treatment and the recovery center for your safety, did you ever speak with the boys after that, after you went through your journey? And did he give you any updates about the boys?
I had my visitation while I was at those places, the treatment center
Yeah.
and the shelters, and that's when I decided to stop. And after that, no, I did phone calls for a while, and they got a new puppy. What do you know? There was all kinds of new toys. The puppy was there. They didn't want to talk to me on the phone. They
Yeah.
were three maybe at
Yeah.
the time,
Yeah.
three. They had nothing to do with me. They wanted, and my times were getting shorter and shorter because they wanted to go play with the puppy. So, uh, yeah,
So then let's fast forward. You find them, you realize that you've been alienated. So let's go ahead and find out more about that. So you did all your research.
I did my research, and I went to my court date, and I was assigned a public defender because my rights were at stake. And I found out that through this journey that that's what happens is when your rights are at stake, you are allowed a public defender to help you with your case. But other than that, I was going to be on my own. I went to all the court hearings that we had for this, and mind you, remember 2 hours away. And when they say that they're going to make a court date, that's one thing. Another thing I learned is that when they make a court date, that's not going to be the end of your court.
Yeah, of
It's
course.
not it. There's trial setting dates, court dates, there's trial confirming court dates. And so there's all these if somebody didn't get served properly, there's going to be another 3 court dates. And so I went to all my court dates, and it was trial time, and we had set the trial for. There was 3 different dates set for the trial. Um, his side kept putting it off and putting it off. There was a wedding, there was this, there was that. Somebody wasn't served, so um, we were going to trial that day, and we were under the impression that there was not going to be a court recorder, and the public defender's office doesn't waive that right. So we were going to have to continue it again. And what do you know? There was a court recorder. So we continued with the trial. Since it was their petition, they went first. So I sat with my public defender and I listened to his testimony, and I listened to the attorney ask her questions to him. I listened so intently.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to know everything. I had my notebook in front of me. I also watched videos on how to poise myself, to sit with confidence with your fingers like this. It's confidence. It exudes confidence. And I went in there like a champ. I had a feeling I might lose, but I went in there like a champ. And so when it came time for the testimony of the boys, I didn't want to be in the room. I did not want to hear them talk negatively about me. I didn't want to hear how much they didn't want to be in my life. And so I asked to be excused.
Yeah.
And when they finished testifying, I asked my attorney if I would be glad that I wasn't in the courtroom, and he said yes. So I am glad that I made that decision to not listen to how much they hate me. So when he said that, he said that one of them made a statement that if I really cared about them, that I would stop all of this. And it was at that time I made that decision to stop. At the request of my son, I'm not going to cry. I stopped. So I made the right decision.
Yeah.
I did make the right decision. And I know in time they'll find me. I know. I'm just going to be patient.
So you got to see them.
I did.
How was that?
So here's the thing. So I have 5 kids.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and they've never all been in the same room at the same time, ever. Yeah. And I really wanted that picture. And this was my only opportunity, maybe. So my son's girlfriend stood down the hall at the courtroom and got my picture.
Yeah, I saw that.
So I got my picture. I'm super excited about it. And I'm okay. I was sad for a couple of days.
Yeah.
But I just have to remember that it's not the end. They're only 16, 17 now. They're only 17.
Yep. So from the last time we chatted till today, you had been sending me messages that the boys, or one of the boys, was looking at your profile. Tell me about that.
Yes. So I started watching TikTok just to kill some time, right? Just to pacify time. And so then I made a video and I was like, oh, that's kind of easy. That's kind of fun, And so then I was like, maybe I should do more. And then I noticed I learned TikTok. So I learned how to find out who's looking at my profile, and I was obsessive about it. I was obsessive. I would sit there every 3 minutes and look at my who viewed my profile.
Yeah.
And sure enough, there he was.
Yeah.
One of my twins was right there. And so it was a very emotional time.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, if he's looking, I'm going to make some TikToks and introduce myself to them, because they don't know me.
Right.
All they have is what their dad has told them. So I've started making TikTok videos and trying to introduce myself and my kids, their siblings, and my lifestyle, because I cut wood. So I there's videos on that. And so Yeah, it's fun, and he's viewed it numerous times since that one time.
So how about after the hearing? Has he looked at it after the hearing?
No,
Yeah. Okay.
no. So that makes me wonder if it was just to get ammunition, or if that was his dad and stepmom trying to get him to get information.
Mhm.
But no, he has not looked at it since. But I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing.
Good. Yeah. And when was the court date? Remind me of the court date.
The court date was, oh my goodness,
Or
that
even just a
was,
month.
yeah, it was just about a month and a half ago, January 13th, I believe,
Okay.
something like that.
And did you go on the stand and testify, or was it just the boys? Did you stop after they said what they said?
I did get to testify. My attorney, my public defender, wanted me to get up there and at least tell some of what I said,
Mhm.
what my side of the story.
Yeah.
And I believe that it made a huge difference. I believe that none of them knew that I was even in an abusive relationship.
Yeah.
They just thought that I just abandoned them because I wanted to go be with my other kids.
Mhm.
They didn't, none of them knew. So I think it made a huge difference. And I guarantee that my testimony and my face and what I said are going to be in those and my boys' minds forever.
So they were in the courtroom when you testified.
Yes, they were. All of my kids were in the courtroom when I testified. So yeah. And when I testified, it's just amazing. I hung on every word that the attorney said and every word that all of their witnesses said. I wanted to know.
Mhm.
But when I testified, their dad was like this to me. The whole testimony did not look at me one time. You know what that tells me? He's shamed. He's ashamed. That's a shameful move.
Yep. Well, that's
He's
powerful.
ashamed of what he's done. Mhm.
But it doesn't change. And that's the sad part is they know.
Correct.
So there's, intentional, there's levels of parental alienation. You have your mild, your moderate, severe. Since you haven't seen your boys since they were 2, we would say this is severe. But
Severe.
typically in these cases, those parents don't think they did anything wrong. They don't have any
Right.
guilt and they're not shamed by their actions, but you saw that he was shamed by
It,
the way he behaved
I
in
did
court.
100%. And when stepmom was on the stand testifying, his attorney, the dad's attorney, asked her a question, and she looked at me and, oh, you mean the biological mother? Like they made a difference,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've never once badmouthed their parenting.
Yeah.
I am so happy that they have taken such great care of those boys.
Yeah.
She has been their mother,
Yeah.
but I am their I am their mother too. I
Yeah.
gave birth to those boys that she loves so much, you know? And I think that's a powerful thing too, is that, she loves them, but I gave them to her to love.
Yep. So no communication with the boys since they were 2.
I had to sign a statement that I will not have any contact or third party contact because I had a couple of my relatives try to contact him and I didn't know until afterwards.
Hmm.
So they got me there and they tried to get me and I was like, I didn't know. I didn't know. So I can't be dinged if I didn't know that they were doing it.
So what was their reasoning behind that? I mean, so you walked away without your parental rights. Did you have to sign those parental rights away?
I did.
Okay. And so why did they stipulate that you couldn't communicate with the boys either directly or indirectly? What was their logic behind that?
It is causing unnecessary stress in their life. However, I think that just finding out that you have a biological mother, I think that causes unnecessary stress in one's life.
Yeah.
But I'm the one that's causing stress. They want me to go away. They think I'm going to pull up in a van and kidnap them. And
Mm.
what would you do with a set of 17-year-old boys?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's some of the thinking is just really out there and outlandish. It's kind of unreal.
So how does that go into effect until they're 18 or is that forever?
I guess 18.
Okay.
I didn't really, it doesn't matter to me because I'm not going to change anything. I mean,
Yeah.
it matters because I'm going to follow that court
Yeah.
order,
Yeah.
but I'm still not going to, I'm still going to post
Yeah.
and I'm still going to make my TikTok videos. My TikTok is Andrea Hensley 121.
Yep. We'll make sure we get that
So
documented as well. And
perfect.
let's talk about your older children. How are they handling that?
My firstborn, my son, he's 31 and he is very mad. He's mad.
Yeah.
He wants a relationship with his brothers
Yeah.
and now he can't.
Hmm.
And so, and then my daughters, they were all there and they were giving me a thumbs up from the seating and while I was on the stand. And it's nice to have such good relationships with my adult
Yeah.
children. They support me no matter what.
Hmm.
So it's nice to have. And if I was given the opportunity to have a relationship with my 17-year-old sons, it would be the same
Yeah.
because I love all of my children just the same.
I wonder how your boys, how that resonated with them, that you have your three adult children and you have a great relationship and they're there supporting you, right? Like in their mind, do they think, something doesn't align here? What they're saying about my mother versus what I'm seeing in the short period of time, they're two different things.
I really hope that that's what they're thinking.
Yeah.
And I don't, honestly, I don't know if they knew that those were their siblings until I said it on the stand.
Wow.
Because, they're adults, so they just look like, maybe they're to just support me.
Yeah.
And when I mentioned the fact that all of my kids are in the room for the first time ever, they kind of, the boys, my twins looked at each other and then they looked over at my other kids. So
Oh.
yeah, it was, I think that my testimony made a huge difference.
So to
Huge.
be clear, the boys never knew. So they thought the father, that his wife was their biological mother. So they've been misleading and lying to these boys that she birthed them, and they don't think that's a problem.
I hope they see it. That's all I can do. And I found out I do know this too in TikTok that if you repost things, you
Mhm.
can't see who looks at your reposts, only
Mm,
your videos that you make.
yeah.
I think that one of my twins was, I think one of my twins was going on to look at my reposts, and I've made comments on the parental alienation resource, um, uh, TikToks, and they've used my comments and made TikToks from the comments. And so I repost those on
Um,
there. And I am pretty sure that they've seen them. I'm pretty sure that and I repost things from your TikToks
yeah.
and yeah, so they can see and know what parental alienation really is and what it sounds like and what it looks like and
Yeah. There's some really great content I'm going to start putting out from adult interviews with alienated
Mhm.
adult children. And that would be really great
Nice.
to repost that for them to possibly look at it. I mean, there's more research coming out about parental alienation and children when they become adults recognizing it and how they recognize it
Right.
and what shifted where they decided they wanted to reach out. So that's going to be really powerful. And
Right.
I
Right.
think it's really great that you are putting the word out there and
Absolutely. Still, I'm not going to stop. I'm going to shout it from the rooftops
yeah.
that parental alienation it's a real thing and it's so sad.
Mhm.
It's so unfortunate.
Mhm.
So
So you recognized by talking to your friends about it, you decided to go to court. And did you at any point ever reach out to the father and ask him to be part of the boy's lives?
from birth, he said he wasn't going to be a part of their life until they were after 2 when they could walk and talk
Mhm.
because he didn't like babies.
Okay.
Yeah, that's nice, huh?
Yeah.
So, when I found out I was pregnant, um, I actually I thought about an abortion, and he took me to my abortion appointment, and my insurance didn't go through.
Mm.
Huh. And I didn't know there was 2 at that time still. So I was like, well, if there's a heartbeat, I can't do it. And I knew that there was going to be a heartbeat. So I was going to do it
Mm.
with or without him. And
Mhm.
so I went to my first doctor's appointment, and my doctor said, "Ooh, you either got 2 in there or you're further along than you think."
Mm.
And there was 2, and I didn't want 1. And God said, "You're having 2."
Yeah.
And they gave me so much more life than I gave them.
Wow.
Yeah.
So throughout those years after he took over care of the children, he never communicated with you. He gave you no updates. He took them,
Nothing.
he separated them from you, and any attempts to reach him, he just ignored.
I got nothing.
You
I
didn't
got
even know where
nothing.
he was.
I knew what town he was in that I had last heard. I didn't know that if I went to court, okay, so people ask me, well, why didn't you go to court before
Mhm.
now? 13 years. I thought I had to know where he was so he could be served. I didn't know that I could just go do that and
Mm.
then figure it out. I had no idea. So when my significant other suggested People Finder, and I paid the money and
Yeah.
I went on that website and I found them. So,
And you reached out to
and
their
then,
father first
yes,
and
yes,
no response.
none. Father first, and then wife, to let her know that she's done an amazing job, and
Mm.
I would love to have a visit with my sons,
Okay.
and nothing. And then to the aunt, and then
Mm.
to the aunt actually has provided me with pictures of the boys in the past,
Okay.
and because I had no idea how to get pictures of them, and then I figured out I could go on to stepmom's Facebook,
Mm.
and I swiped pictures of my boys.
Yeah.
There was all kinds of pictures of them growing up, and I missed all of that. So, but now I have my next video I'm going to do is I'm going to play a song, and during this song, I'm going to pack up all of their stuff that I've found of theirs since they
Yeah.
were born. I have like outfits of theirs that say Double Trouble, and some toys, and all their ultrasound pictures,
Oh,
and blankets, and all kinds of stuff that I have of theirs. I'm going to put it in a box and then tape up that box and just let them know it's not going anywhere.
mhm.
It'll be there when they come around, just like I'm not going anywhere. In fact, it makes me want to become a healthier person so that I can be there when they come to look for me.
Yeah, that's great. So,
Yeah,
what do you have to share with our listeners who are going through it? I mean, what you learned so much, you did so much research.
I did.
What do you have to share with our listeners?
Uh, you know, I would say a strong support system is huge. It's huge. I mean, I'm sure my support system got tired of hearing about it.
Yeah,
Because I mean, it was almost a 2-year battle, and
yeah,
there's people that have done years, which I
yeah.
don't understand how they can do it, but they've
Mhm.
done years. And a support system is huge. I got a therapist
Good.
because I needed to bounce some ideas off, and before I made any action, I needed a sounding board. But for anyone that's just educate yourself, know what you're talking about, know the court system. Um, don't badmouth the other parent. Don't badmouth the other parent to the child. And even if I was to have a visit with my sons right
Mhm.
now, I still would not badmouth them,
Yeah,
their parents. I would not. I would just want to know. I would want to know their favorite color. I would want to know what kind of music they listen to. I know one's athletic and one's more into the artsy stuff. They're Native American, so there's one of them is exploring his roots in that, and so he's growing his hair long, and so I put there's just so much that I do for them still as their mom. It's never gonna stop. Never gonna stop. My love will never stop.
of course. Of
So,
course.
but
Well,
as
they're coming
okay,
into the age where they can make some decisions on their own, right?
correct,
And they'll find a way to connect if they want to find the truth. They know where to go because you're putting yourself
right.
out there.
One of the big life turnarounds that I learned over this whole thing is the Hebrew meaning of abracadabra is I create as I speak. And I will reunite with my boys again for sure. I
Love it.
don't doubt it. There's no doubt in my mind. I used that to quit smoking cigarettes. Next
Mhm.
month will be a year I quit smoking because I didn't want them to smell cigarettes on me on my first visit.
Yeah.
I'm manifesting that visit. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
So, what was it like when you saw them for the first time?
Oh, that was okay. So I was hoping you'd ask that. So I actually went in disguise, and I went to one of their wrestling matches. I had my COVID mask on, and I had a beanie and a sweatshirt. So I didn't even know what I looked like. So, but I was afraid Dad might recognize me. So I uh, I saw him, and it was instant,
Yeah.
instant sobbing. And then I had to pull it together because I didn't want everyone to know that I was there. So I only saw one at that time. So I
Okay.
hadn't seen the other one yet. But when I went to the court to the trial the first time, he was there. They
Mhm.
were both there.
Mhm.
And I had been in training to stop myself from crying because I'm an extremely emotional person.
Yeah.
And I knew as soon as I saw them, it was gonna be waterworks.
Right.
So I pulled myself together, and they were behind this window, and there was frosted glass where you could only see so much of the person, right? I made sure I walked right in front of that window like a duck at a fair so that he could see my face every time I walked
Yeah.
because I wanted them to know what I look like.
Right.
I, I want them to know where one of them got their looks from.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing. It's amazing. They're amazing. And I can't wait to get to know them.
Good. So do
Yeah.
they resemble you?
One of them looks just like me. It looks just
Wow.
like my brother when he did.
Wow.
I'm going to do a video on that too. Trust me.
Great. Good.
Yeah.
Andrea, thank you so much. Any final thoughts?
I'm so thankful for the opportunity
Of
that I
course.
had to make this podcast
Yeah.
with you. It's hard to stay strong, but I have to. I
Yeah.
have to, and I want everyone to know that it's important to stay strong. It's just
Good.
thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you.
Great. Thank you for joining the Fractured Families podcast. And again, tell us your TikTok handle.
Andrea Hensley 121.
Okay, we will make sure we add that to our show notes. Thanks, Andrea. Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Fractured Families podcast. I hope our conversation has provided you with support, understanding, and actionable insights to help you navigate your own family challenges. Remember, healing is a journey, and reaching out for help is a sign of strength. You're not alone. If you found value in today's episode, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your support helps us reach more families in need. You can contact me on social media at Parental Alienation is Real and visit our website for additional resources and ways to get involved. Stay strong, stay connected, and keep fighting for the family bonds that matter most. Until next time, take care and stay resilient.